Boom. So we just want to speak on something that's close to my heart. Those of you that know me, yeah, I used to be a rapper, such as him, Channel U, and all that malarkey. We're both from Northwest London, two of the roughest neighbourhoods. There was the recent spate of stabbings
In and around London.
in and around London. This stuff's been going on for ages. We grew up around it. We know about it. You see some of it on the news. What do you think? What I want to ask is, what do you think is one of the causes of this street crime phenomenon that we have within our community?
It's
I would say the black community, but do you know what? Council estates everywhere are now having this issue. What do you think?
I think it's more complex than people think. I think it's not just a case of gangs and young people. There's so many. It's quite an in-depth topic. I don't know if we'll have time to go into everything, but I think it's like gangs is one thing. That's one aspect, but it's also it's becoming the norm. It's becoming the norm to carry knives, carry guns. It's an accessory now for a lot of the youngers. Obviously, when we were growing up, it's just, things, same kind of things. People had knives, guns, but now the younger generation, you can't leave home without it. So when you have it on you, you're more inclined to use it. If something happens or kicks off, you're gonna
use it.
You're gonna pull for it. So I think people say, this. Also, I want to say this as well, quick. It's the media is don't be careful with the media because they'll just push their agenda. They'll demonize this type of people, this group of people. This shit has been going on. So it's not a case of the media they put a light on. There's stabbings. There's always been stabbings. There's always been shootings. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen. But the media's, for some reason, their time to kind of highlight it. So they're doing it there's a reason behind it. So don't think all of a sudden, all the stabbings are going up. It's been happening.
I also think a key thing for some of our communities is male role models.
But I mean, why do you think the stabbings are happening? Before we got into that, why are they? What's causing the stabbings?
And so this is it. When I say male role models, I think that a lot of everyone needs a dad. Yeah. How people deal with not having a father varies from person to person. But when you're in the environment, when you're in these environments, the concrete jungle, the estates, the rough inner city neighborhoods, the potential to be a gang member or a hood a roadman, whatever it is, however you want to describe it, is more. The opportunity is more, and actually it becomes part of the social norm. They've taken away things that would have distracted you when you was a teen, maybe youth clubs and all of that, and now there's nothing. And when you look outside your window as a 9-year-old, all you saw was the elders in the ends who were doing their nonsense. So by the time you grow up and you're 15, 16,
what
17,
about the people
18, you're normalized.
That's a very good point. But what I'm saying is some of these kids have fathers.
Some do. So it's,
I don't think it's just a lack of father figures. That's a huge part of it. But I think maybe is there anything? What else could it be? Do you think is that the primary reason?
I think that all these things work hand in hand, because we could talk poverty breeds crime. So these are poor areas that the people usually come from, but not everyone is going to come from there. Yeah. But
some people glamorize it. Some people go from rich areas to the hood to try and to live that life. We know people that have done that. Yeah. We know people that have come to the hood to try and they don't need to be there. So it's also glamorized.
It's also a cycle, because look, I'm a musician, right? Or I was a musician. I still produce. Music sets an atmosphere. When you go to church, they'll play gospel music. When you go to slow jam rave, they start playing, obviously, slow jams. You start whining, girls, start dancing with the girls. Now, so when you're playing, I just robbed a man last night. All I want's the bag. I'll stab you in it. Like that vibe. It also breeds the atmosphere, so it goes hand in hand. You're high, you're playing these tunes. You just saw one of your enemies. You got your shank on you anyway. You just took the kitchen knife out of the house anyway.
So Slim just made a very good point. So do you think the music is directly influencing these young people?
The crazy thing is, the music is influenced by what's happening, but the music is now influencing what's happening.
So
it's a cycle. So the question is, how do they break the cycle? How do we break the cycle? And that's where I think the role models comes in. Because growing up, you know, the man them that were successful legitly, they weren't coming to the ends and saying, "Yo, I've got this." They weren't coming out with 10 grand on them. Even if they had it, they weren't coming with it in cash because they used their bank card. You know, and they were dressed in suits. We probably looked at them for whatever. But when the elders were coming and they were coming with all their nonsense, they came and showed you the chain, the gold chain, the rollie, showed you notes so you could see the money. Buff, yeah, they might have a buff like in the car, and that's what would gas you. But really, maybe you should have just listened to Michael, who went to university. He's now got a performance manager's job. He's on 60K a year. Maybe he could have bought gold teeth and chains, but he didn't. He bought a house, you know, and maybe a Volkswagen Passat. You know, so, but role models really, because you as a child, you're gonna follow what you see.
Yeah.
So nothing's ever gonna get rid of it totally. But
we didn't touch on this, and we're gonna come back to this on another video. But I think parenting is so key and crucial to these kids and how they're raised and how they grow up. Parenting is like, I think people forget how influential parents are for their kids and what they need to keep an eye on what happens, and what goes on. I'm telling you. But anyway, we're gonna come back to that. Keep it tuned. Ski and Slim TV.
Peace out.